Welcome to America's Heroes Group.
Welcome back to America's Heroes Group. This time with our roundtable and our partner at the Chicago Regional Office of Veterans Benefits Administration, the VBA. April is Sexual Assault, Minority Health, and Autism Awareness Month. Happy Easter, happy Resurrection Day. Whatever your flavor, happy Sunday. Saturday is April 8th. We say it's Saturday, April 8th, 2023. Our host is Kelley. I'm Sean Claiborne, the co-host. Exec producer is Glenda Smith. Today we're filling in is Shakaya. She's holding it down with us in the studio today. Our digital media producer is Ivan Ortega of Scouts Honor Productions. And we have a panelist with us, Lewis Jones. He's a U.S. Air Force veteran who works for the Chicago Regional VA office as a rating veteran service representative with 20 years of federal service. And Holly G. Dorsey, retired U.S. Army Staff Sergeant, Iraq War combat veteran with multiple deployments, Chicago Regional Office Veteran Service Rep, and a MST Military Sexual Trauma Coordinator. We're going to talk about military sexual trauma and the treatments, the compensation, otherwise known as benefits, that go along with that. How are you guys doing today?
Oh, we're
doing
fine.
well.
Thank you so much. Doing very well.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. It's our pleasure. So tell us, what is going on with military sexual trauma today? Just to start the conversation off, recently we've had reports where it appears that the numbers of sexual assault on military bases and other institutions, even the junior ROTC in college, it seems like the sexual assault instances have been going up. But then again, people don't know if that's because people are stepping forward to tell more of their stories. What is going on with this topic right now? And that's for
yes.
Jones,
well,
for anybody.
Oh, okay. I'll take that question. Well, at this time, we can't speak on specifics surrounding MST incidents. However, what we can do is provide the resources surrounding military sexual trauma. And first, I want to do that by defining military sexual trauma. And MST, military sexual trauma, is an actual event or incident that the veteran experiences while in military service. Okay, and also, MST is a subset of personal trauma, which includes sexual assault and sexual harassment while the veteran is serving.
Okay, so what are the numbers telling us about what's happening with these instances? Are things getting better? Are things getting worse? And then what are the remedies for people that experience it? And that's for either one of you.
Well, from a claims process point of view, there's always been improvement in the way we treat these specialized claims, and that's with any claim. In my capacity, Sean, as a rating veterans service rep, the claim enters many development cycles before it reaches me, and at that point, I'm prepared to make a decision based on the evidence. So it's hard to determine where the root of the issue is or the stem of the issue is. We do know once our veterans reach out, we are here to provide whatever resources that are available to get them started on track and successfully through the process have a favorable outcome to their claim.
And have you seen more people stepping forward to file claims in recent years or in recent months because of the information that's out there and also how we have more dialogue about it?
Yes, due to the comfortability.
So. Go ahead, Holly. Yep.
And I'm sorry. Due to the comfortability that our office offers, and most regional offices offer, and the comfort level for veterans to go into the VA medical centers to obtain help. Yes, a lot more veterans are coming forward at this time, disclosing their concerns and some of the issues that they are facing surrounding military sexual traumas. Oftentimes, it is becoming a little bit easier for veterans to do that, with the services being offered here at the VA.
And Holly, as a woman now, so as a combat veteran as well, with many years of experience in the military, from your perspective, how important is the compassion element to someone coming and telling their story to file a claim? What should a person expect to experience if they step forward to file a claim to try to get benefits?
Well, first I would like to describe what the disability process is. So, well, first, if they come in to receive disability compensation, they have to understand that, for one, they'll receive a tax-free monetary benefit paid to the veterans with disabilities, and it results from a disease or injury which happened in military service. Also, they can expect to receive free treatment for any physical or mental condition related to the experiences of MST. Also, I want them to understand, the veterans to understand, that they don't need documentation of the MST experiences or the VA disability rating to get care. So I would like to say they are afforded, as an MST coordinator here, they're afforded a VA medical assistance and help, which includes counseling. Also, they are offered MST-related outpatient services, and that's offered at every VA medical center and many VA community bases and outpatient clinics.
So, Mr. Jones, can you tell us about the confidentiality of the process? If a person steps forward to tell their story, are they subject to possibly any information getting out, or is it going to be people going to poke and prod at the history of the story, or how does that part of it work?
Well, no, the attitude of a rater, attitude of a VSR, a veteran service rep. Many of us are veterans as well, so we try to treat our survivors as if we were treating a family member. So once that claim is processed, the confidentiality is within that claim and within the veteran service officer or anyone else privy to the claim besides the veteran. So our job is not to pry or poke into the history, but we are here to find out the issue and grant the benefit sought. And sometimes that does relies on us to develop for the service records, military records, statements from the veteran, lay statements, treatment records, MTF records, military treatment facilities, vet center records. Our job is to obtain, our job is to assist to gain this information. A lot of these veterans don't report this information, so it's our job to kind of develop for that and uncover whatever records we can discover.
So typically when people think about sexual assault in the civilian world, oftentimes in the legal system in that sense, they always say that it's not about the person's intent who's committing the crime or committing the offense. It's about how the person perceived it or received it. So that being said, it sounds like in the process you're describing that you're not really trying to dig in to find out did the person really experience something that was a really sexual assault or not, which I think a lot of people that have come on our show and talked about their experiences in the past, it seems like that was always one of the key issues. They felt like that they were being told they were lying, or they weren't, it wasn't that bad, or their incident wasn't as serious as maybe they experienced it. But now we're starting to wake up to the idea of reality that people experience things through different lenses. So just because you may not have intended something to be offensive, it can be very offensive to the person receiving it. But having said that, going through a claims process, you're not really looking at, trying to determine whether or not the experience was a bad experience or not, but what was the effect of the experience on their personal life? Are they actually, affected negatively to the point where they do need some kind of compensation for that? Am I understanding that correctly?
Absolutely. That's definitely right on the nail. Hit on the nail, because what we're trying to do is the veteran statement is their statement, and we're trying to validate that. And every claim that we receive, to me personally, I'm trying to grant whatever I can. So a lot of times it does determine on the records and the validity of the record. So the statement from the veteran, how important it is not the all end all be all when it comes to claims process. And there's different layers to helping a veteran through this process, and these resources are out here, and that's definitely what we're trying to relay.
So, Holly, can you tell me some of the things that give people an idea, the listeners an idea, particularly veterans or even people that know veterans? What are some of the remedies that they can receive from going through the VA to file a successful claim? So if they go to file a claim and they're successful, what kind of problems could be solved? I mean, I'm thinking about just thinking about off the top of my head, like homelessness. I'm thinking about, issues with employment, issues with counseling, things like that. What types of things can they receive?
Well, actually, they can receive a wealth of services and resources. For one, it allows the veteran to express their feelings and begin their journey towards healing. And they can do that with counseling resources offered at the VA hospital, as well as the vet centers. Additionally, the veteran's able to obtain counseling from a qualified military sexual trauma coordinator like myself, or at the VA hospital. The veterans can file or obtain assistance with filing their claim for benefits. And they can start there by coming into the the VBA specifically, or one of the local regional offices, and they can speak with public contact. And they can actually talk in person, or they can file a claim online surrounding military sexual trauma.
Wow, so that's pretty amazing. So they can go online, actually file a claim, and start the process. But the most important thing I heard you say was the fact they can get help filling out their claim, because that's one thing I think a lot of people that call into our studio all the time, they complain about the idea or the fact that it's hard sometimes to fill out the paperwork, particularly about something that's so traumatic.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mr. Jones, what can you add to that as well? What can you talk about as far as the process to help people want to step forward to actually start the process to get this road, the path to healing, but actually take advantage of some of the benefits that they actually paid for with their service?
Yes, that's why our regional office, that's why we have a male and a female MST outreach coordinator for those specific events. Our male veterans don't come forward as much. I have a lot of dialogue with VHA coordinators and physicians, and a lot of times they're dealing with another gender. So we don't get a lot of males that come forward, but I am on deck for that, and that's why we do employ the two of us. But the process of coming forward, I encourage all veterans who are listening, we are here to develop for you. We are here to develop for your records. That is our purpose, and that's the attitude that we take. And that's all I know, sir. I mean, I wish I could answer questions that will give you more in-depth in regards to MST. But when it comes to the claims processing, I'm pro-veteran, and I'm definitely here to provide any information that's necessary.
So, Mr. Jones, how long does it take to file a claim typically?
Well, each claim is case by case. It's based on the merits of the claim. It's based on how many issues a veteran may claim. We may have a claim just for hearing loss, or we may have a mental health claim that may take a more in-depth process to develop for. So generally speaking, a claim, we try to process claims as quick as possible. We're in a virtual environment now. Used to be a while back when claim folder was 6 inches thick. So I can kind of, give kudos to my raters before me who had to actually deal with, a lot of paperwork, when he was dealing with those. But now we're virtual. We were able to provide, more service to veterans and provide claims out at a quicker output because of that. So I think the VA is headed in the right direction by processing claims at a quicker pace in this virtual environment.
That's Holly. What do you want to add to that?
I would like to add that once a veteran files a claim, it takes approximately 155 calendar days. And so that's from beginning to end to the rating decision. However, in processing that claim, there are several factors that can impact the veteran's processing time, which can cause some delays and or specific timelines that we need to stick to when we're completing the claims process. So also, if veterans are seeking to file a claim, we just ask that they provide the appropriate documents when doing so, and that could be helpful in ensuring that the claim is processed quicker at a more rapid pace.
So, Holly, what are some of the common mistakes that people file when you try to file a claim? What are some of the common mistakes that you see people make where it delays the processing, or may not come to a desirable outcome for the person who filed the claim because maybe they didn't submit all the right information or the right paperwork.
Correct. Well, MST is very sensitive. It's very sensitive in nature, and so we try to handle each veteran's claim on a case-by-case basis in a very sensitive and confidential manner. But oftentimes, I do see veterans who come forward so courageously. They submit a erroneous document. They don't sign the specific document that needs to be provided, specifically a VA Form 21-526EZ. That's the application for disability compensation and related compensation benefits. And on that form, oftentimes you might see it, what we call in our office, it's incomplete. And so they won't sign off on the document. But we do reach out to veterans constantly to ensure that the form is completed thoroughly. Or we can reach out to the veterans POA to ensure that they've signed off on in the right blocks, provided the complete information before, a claim is sent forward, for further processing or returned to the veteran for completeness.
So, Mr. Jones, from what I understand, like you guys are not trying to judge the person who's filing a claim. You basically just want them to be able to get access to the benefits that they have. Would it be advisable that they make sure they bring documentation of evidence of the things that they're going through in their current state right now, so that way people can see the effects of what experiences they had in the past, how they're expecting them today, so you guys can make your job a little bit easier. What are some of the things you would recommend for people to do? So your job is easier as a rating person.
Thanks for the question, Sean. There's a lot of resources available. Veteran service officers are available to assist veterans to help their process in the compensation field. These VSOs are free to veterans. They have to pay nothing. And if they hire a specific organization, that organization is tasked with filing that claim for that veteran. Now, as far as what the veteran needs to provide, I really want to say not much, but an application. And that's just putting it plainly put. Once they start that application process, the duty to assist begins with the VA to request records. And from my standpoint, it starts from the elements of service connection. We start with what happened in service, and then we start with what are the current signs and symptoms, what is the current diagnosis, and if that veteran files a claim and states, I'm having symptoms due to what happened in service, to us, that's a specialized MST claim. Therefore, we try to establish that stressor for that veteran so we can get that nexus. So the process, it seems ABC, but a lot of it is developing for records, and veterans can bring up their statement up front without question would help the process. That way, that would kind of guide us where we need to go be looking for records and where we can identify a stressor occurred.
So how does a person start a claim, Mr. Jones? I'm sorry.
Well, there's many avenues. There's still hard copy forms. Well, there may be hard copy forms, but most of our veterans are filing claims online or electronically. I will defer to Holly with that because I don't see a lot of claims processing up front. So, Holly.
Okay. Yes. Well, specifically, they would have to come into. They have several avenues, of course, but one of them, they can go into their local regional office, and they can sit with a public contact team member, and in the public contact office, they have MST coordinators available to assist veterans who have MST claims. So, and they are gender specific. They can also go online, and they can contact the Vera. Vera is a new application specifically for veterans, so they can do their scheduling of appointments to public contact. So they would go to Visitor Engagement Reporting Application, that is VERA, and they can schedule an in-person appointment with a local regional office public contact team member. And the website for that is https://vets.force.com/VAVERA/S. Or they can call the 800-827-1000 and request to see an MST coordinator that way. And at that time, a qualified MST coordinator will reach out to the veteran to set up an appointment to discuss their matter. Additionally, they would need the following forms. That would be a 526EC. And that form is for the application for disability compensation and related compensation benefits. They would need the other form, which is the VA form 2107818 Alpha A, statement in support of the claim for service connection for PTSD secondary to personal trauma. This form is designed to obtain the information surrounding the MST-related concerns and or incidents. The third thing is optional for the veteran, because oftentimes veterans don't have proof as to the incident that occurred in service. And so what we do is we often request a 2910, which is a DA 2910 form from the veteran, which is the Victims Reporting Preference Statement. And this form is submitted as evidence, but however is not mandatory. And this discloses all the details surrounding the incident that happened to the veteran while in service, if in fact they did report it.
So make sure, audience, that you bookmark this YouTube video, this Facebook chat video, so that way you can rewind and go back and make sure you have all the proper information, all the documents that you need, because you got a wealth of knowledge today. This is something that's really critical, really important, that can help a lot of people out. A lot of people are hidden in the closets right now with their stories, don't want to tell them because it's embarrassing, and people.
Yes, indeed.
And people understand. Everybody understands. Everybody understands. None of it wants to have it happen to us, and we don't understand. Any of us should not understand why would someone want to hurt somebody in that way anyway. But you deserve those benefits, Mr. Jones. As when you look at a rating and the rating system, not to get into too many details, but what makes a person rated highly or rated less? What goes into the factoring process to give a person a rating?
Well, the VA has a dynamic scheduler that's already been written in stone. We have our regulations, we have our laws and guidelines that's already in our Code of Federal Regulations. So when we identify a disability and we rate a disability, it is according to a VA scheduler. And depending on what type of disability, whether it's a joint, whether it's mental, whether it's vision, dental, you name it, it's all put against a scheduler. And based on the severity of the disability, and this is based on medical evidence, based on the severity of the disability, it then gets a compensable evaluation if the scheduler meets a compensable evaluation.
And can it be changed so you get one rating and then you're like, this is not working? I have more issues and more problems after the event. Can you change that rating at some point, Mr. Jones? Absolutely.
That's when a claim for increase is filed, and then that's when it'll be on the development side of the house, and the veteran can definitely come in once service connected for an issue. They can come in and claim an increase if that issue gets worse, and that starts the process again. Obviously, an issue that's already service connected doesn't need as much development because we've already done the legwork to establish that evaluation. So yes, without question, the VHA is available to assist, and we're about helping veterans get better. So that's why our counterparts are there. But when it comes to the VA, yes, the veteran can definitely come in if their issue gets worse.
Now, Ms. Dorsey, I wanted to ask you this question. Yeah. Go ahead and add what you needed to add first before I ask the last question.
Oh, yes. I just want to add one other thing about if a veteran contests a specific rating, they can submit, or if they happen to be denied in the past for like a mental health or PTSD condition, what they can do is submit a VA form 0995. That's for supplemental claims, and they can do the rapid appeal process. And so if they disagree with their decision, a supplemental claim form can assist them with contesting what they feel their decision is. And they, at that time, they can submit that form and provide additional evidence to supplement the form.
That is a wealth of knowledge. Make sure to bookmark this video. I'm telling you guys, bookmark this video, YouTube it, Google it, make sure you get the information in. One last question, about 30 seconds, Ms. Dorsey. Mm-hmm. Because we're trying to be more compassionate, and also we're starting our eyes are opening up to the different people and demographics across this country. How is the military and the VA treating LGBTQ people that have MST or have claims with MST? Has it evolved to the point? And just give me like a 5 minute, 5 words or less, 10 words or less. Real quick.
Yes, the VA regional office is a very inclusive organization that works to assist all veterans without bias or discrimination. Oftentimes, veterans of the LGBTQIA community face military workplace hostilities as well as in the military service. And so we work to provide very non-biased services, resources to all genders and types.
Thanks for your time. Holly G. Dorsey, retired U.S. Army Staff Sergeant, Iraqi War Combat Veteran with multiple deployments, Chicago Regional Office Veteran Service Rep and MST Coordinator, and panelist Lewis Jones. He's a U.S. Air Force veteran with 20 years of federal service. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
This is America's Heroes Group. We'll be right back.